Hi, welcome back. This is Katie, and I am doing my great sourdough experiment. In case you're just joining me, I am stuck inside because of coronavirus. There was no yeast at the grocery store, so I thought I would create my own sourdough starter. But instead of just trying one sourdough, I am trying many different sourdough recipes to see how they work and to see what the differences are and to try to find the best sourdough recipe. As just a reminder, I have a rye flour sourdough starter, a whole wheat flour sourdough starter, a Teff flour sourdough starter, and a white flour sourdough starter. This is the King Arthur flour recipe, and I've only done a half recipe here. All right, so I have my new labels. One thing that I want to check in with you about that I've observed today is the aromas that I'm getting from my different samples. So the rye, when I checked on it this morning, what I'm getting from it is a little bit of yeast, but very much more is I'm getting an alcoholic smell off of it, which is great. Because yeast, when it reproduces, it creates not just carbon dioxide, which makes the bubbles, but it creates alcohol, and I'm not aware of any other organism that's going to create the alcohol in there, so that is an indication to me that the yeast is actually multiplying and growing, so yay! Now this whole wheat starter with the low pH lime juice, I'm not getting an alcohol scent from this one, but I am getting a very slightly sweet, bready scent. So, you know, if you think of the scent of a fresh loaf of bread coming out of the oven, that's kind of what this smells like. It's not exactly yeast, but it's a nice, sweet whole wheat scent, which is great. And finally, the King Arthur flour, which, as you can see, and if you looked at the update video, it had previously risen really far. It almost doubled in volume. This one, not so great. Don't have an alcohol scent. It doesn't have a bready, yeasty scent. The closest that I could come up with is it kind of smelled like dirty socks, which, you know, even if you're excited by the, inflation, by the bubbles, if it's not smelling right, it means that the yeast and the beneficial bacteria are not growing. It doesn't mean that it's gone bad. Don't throw it away. Don't necessarily start over with it. It just means that you're going to have to take some time before the bacteria that you want is growing. Don't give up. It's just not there yet. All right, so let's give these guys their second feeding on day number 3. This is 2 tablespoons of rye flour and 2 tablespoons of water with lime juice that is pH adjusted so that it's 3.5 pH. Okay, now with the King Arthur flour version, it wants you immediately from the get-go to start throwing half of the starter away. I disagree with this method because at this point there's no reason to have enough starter to be getting rid of it anyway, but I'm only doing half a recipe, but I'm following it as they say, so I'm just going to get rid of half of this right now. Okay, so I got rid of about half of the starter. I didn't quite measure it, I just kind of eyeballed it. One thing that I should mention is that it had risen to about half, and then I punched it down, I stirred it down, and then it only rose like 3/4, And I think that probably was an indication that it needed to be fed. So I probably should have fed it sooner. Or not, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I don't know what I'm doing. This is all experimentation. So today I did 50 grams of water and 50 grams of all-purpose flour in this recipe. Here I'm adding 2 tablespoons of whole wheat flour and 2 tablespoons of pH adjusted lime water. So now this has a total of 6 tablespoons of whole wheat flour and 6 tablespoons of the pH adjusted lime water. And finally, I've got the Teff flour and water ready to go. This is now 6 tablespoons of Teff and 6 tablespoons of bottled water. All right, there we go. We have our 4 samples. I'm going to put them on the counter overnight, cover them up with saran wrap. My kitchen tends to be at about 75 degrees, which is a nice temperature for the sourdough starter. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Have a good day.